know, that you know, that I know, that we know we need to be accurate. That's a lot of knowledge. Today, we're going to talk about how we know what we know when we're researching. Howdy, I'm Devon Noel Lee, and this is Family History Fanatics, where we teach you how to climb your family tree and have a whole lot of fun along the way. If you watched a previous video, we talked about how to become a better researcher, and we do that by writing quality research questions. Now what? That should be your next question, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What do we do once we have written our quality research question? In a previous video, I have talked about the power of peer review and why you should be doing it. Be sure to click this info card that will flash up on your screen to go to that video, or check the description and I'll have a link for that for you after you finish watching this video. But essentially, you need to go back and peer review the research of others or yourself. To begin the peer review of yourself, you have to double check the trigger that created your research question. So remember in the previous video, we talked about a simple research question: when and where was Christian born? And then we beefed it up by giving specifics. And we said that his trigger was his marriage certificate. And then I showed you a clue web of how I pieced together bits of information that I knew about Christopher Christian Hoppe, so that when I got to an answer, I knew I was looking at the right individual. Now, it's time to recheck my work, to review what I know. How do I know that he's the father of these children and he married Anna Margareta Carlsberger in Franklin County, Ohio in that date? Well, the trigger, as I said before, was a marriage certificate, and this does say Christian Hoppe, and we have Margaret Carlsberger. Now with Anna, sometimes people actually prefer and use their middle name rather than their first name, so that isn't too strange to not see Anna Margareta Carlsberger, instead seeing Margaret or a variation of Margareta. But how did I get to this marriage certificate, which triggered the question, when and where was Christian born? Aha! Now I'm going to peer review myself. Can you do that? So it is important to realize that your path to get to your research question can help you in your research. You need to know how you know what you know. I actually started this research project by looking at the Geisler family photo album. This woman right here, Magdalena Margareta Hoppe, who married into the Geisler line, this was her photo album. And in her photo album, she had a picture of her brother Christian and her sister Anna Margareta, who is named after her mother, Anna Margareta, surname Carlsberger, who married Hoppe. Whew, I hope you can keep up with that. My path to this question began with, I know that Anna Margareta Carlsberger is the mother of 3 children, and those 3 children have the last name Hoppe or Hoppe. So those 3 children are Christian, Marguerite, and Anna. That's just from the photo album. What did I come up with next in order to determine that Anna married a Christian? Because Christian isn't in this photo album. The father Christian, not the son Christian Christoph. Well, I found a death certificate for Anna Magdalena Margareta Geisler. Her maiden name was Hoppe, and we figured that out because the father's name is that Christopher Hoppe, and he's from Germany. Ooh, I'm already have an answer to my question. But wait a minute. The mother's name is Margareta Culp. You guys, for years, I only saw this death certificate, and I searched and searched and searched for a Culp, and I couldn't find one. But then I went to the family photo album and saw the names written by this woman, Magdalena, and the names that she gave her siblings and her mother. There never was a Culp. We have a video about what do you trust in death records, and I highly recommend that you read that. But we're going to go ahead and make note of the fact that there was this cult discrepancy. So I had a photo album and I had a death certificate. How did I get to the father and mother's marriage certificate? Well, in genealogy, we always want to look for more and more evidence. And I know that there was an Anna Margareta Hoppe who probably married somebody. So if I search for the siblings, maybe their death records will give me names and birthplaces for daddy. Well, I went and gathered more information. On the top, you see Christian Hoppe, or Christopher Hoppe's death register entry, and then below that you see Anna Margareta, the daughter, or this of Anna Margareta Karlsberger, and Magdalena's sister. Now you know why I'm so addicted to Clue Labs. It just makes everything easier. But in both cases, we can see that there's a Christopher Hoppe, they married a Margaret, and both the father and mother are from Germany. So I'm going to add a little more information to my Clue web. I know that there's this strange last name, Culp, and it only appears on Marguerite, Magdalena Geisler's death certificate. But in the photo album, the last name is Karlsberger, so I'm just going to leave it with Karlsberger there. And then I know that the first name was Christopher. That is the name that all three of those death records agreed with. And I'm still trying to answer the question, where was he born and when? But I have a clue. He was born somewhere in Germany. So I can't look for a Christopher Hoppe who was born in New York. That's not going to be the right guy, because all three records say that he's from Germany. So chances are my guy was born in Germany. I just need to figure out where and when. So now that I'm armed with the information that these three children died in Franklin County, Ohio, I went in search for a record that has Margareta Karlsberger, some kind of Christian Hoppe or Hoppe, and a marriage in Franklin County. It's likely they married in Franklin County, but it's not always accurate that it's always going to take that place. But I'm going to start Franklin County because you start the most logical place first and then look for other places. It just so happens I came across a Christian Hoppe with a Marguerite Karlsberger, the record I showed you earlier, and it fits. This marriage certificate happened just a year before Christian, the older brother, was born. So things are looking very, very good. So I'm going to take the information that I've discovered and I'm going to put it on my Clue web. I put the marriage date and place on this record, and I go ahead and change Christian Christopher Hoppe and put it all together for one place. And I still want to know when and where was he born. In addition to this Clue web of reviewing how I know what I know, I could add some additional information I have for Margareta Magdalena Geisler and her siblings to make sure we're headed in the right direction. But I don't need to just yet, because maybe I'm going to find that as I do more research. Because I started with the photo album, the Geisler, my great-great-grandmother's death certificate, and then I also went ahead and looked for her siblings' death certificates, and now I can start looking for additional records to try to answer the question, when and where was Christian born? I hope that I can point out a couple of things with this process. It is entirely possible the answer to your question is in the records that you already have in your possession, that you've already looked at, that you've already gathered, and you just didn't notice the first time around. So always review how you know what you know when you created your research question, because it's possible that it's in your home. In fact, I have a girlfriend, she and I were working on a question about her ancestor, and we looked and we looked and we looked, and we were striking out everywhere. A couple years later, she sent me an email and said, oh, you know that relative that we were working on and we couldn't find the answer to? I have a handwritten letter from her that gave me all the answers we need, and it's been in my house for 25 years, but it was tucked up in the attic somewhere and it hadn't been in that box for that long. So always review what you know before you start looking for new documents to answer the questions that you come up with. Additionally, as you're reviewing what you know, you're going to create mental clue webs or actual drawn out clue webs like I do that will help you know you've reached your answer once you get there. But I need to also stress the importance of keeping your research organized. As you saw, I like to use clue webs. In addition, I use Roots Magic, I use Ancestry, family trees, I use Family Search family trees, as well as other online tree resources. But you've got to find a way to keep your research organized. And may I stress from this point forward, you always do it digitally. Yeah, that's a point for another video, but keep your research organized and do it digitally. So here's my question of the day. When have you overlooked details that would have answered your research questions if you had taken the time to review what you knew at the onset? I'm Devon Lee, and this is Family History Fanatics. If you find our content useful, please hit the subscribe button and your bell so that when you do visit YouTube, you will be notified when we have a new episode. If you want to be notified off of the YouTube platform when we release blog content or YouTube videos, be sure to sign up for our newsletter and you will receive this free guide for signing up. And if you ever have any questions, be sure to put them in the comments below of any video and we will answer you.